Indiana Newsdesk is made possible in part by the following. Indiana University's Center for Applied Cybersecurity Research, presenting Security Matters with tips for improving online security in 3 minutes or less. Main Source Bank, headquartered in Greensburg, Indiana, offering products and services to fit every stage of life. More information at mainsourcebank.com. Main Source, life needs a great bank. Member FDIC and equal housing lender.
Smithville Communications, serving Southern Indiana with high-speed fiber gigabit internet. Smithville Fiber Gigabit Technology. Tap the power.
And by WTIU members. Thank you.
Coming up on Indiana Newsdesk. Outrage from parents, educators, and the governor about the length of time students will spend on this year's ISTEP exam. Ahead, we ask officials to put politics aside and answer what can really be done with testing scheduled to begin in less than 2 weeks. The DNR is selling ash trees infested by the emerald ash borer. They say it's a way to put trees that would otherwise be wasted to use.
We're capitalizing a little bit on the revenue, but we're doing it in areas we're already there.
Ahead, why activists say the plan is solely focused on revenue at the expense of forest conservation. And if you're working towards a New Year's resolution to get healthy, you'll be interested in new research that suggests endorphins may not be responsible for that feel-good feeling you have after a workout.
Ultimately, what's the mechanism or the secret ingredient that makes this change happen?
Those stories and the latest news headlines from across the state right now on Indiana Newsdesk. Welcome to Indiana Newsdesk. I'm Joe Wren. The deadline to move bills along and get them out of committee if they're going to be heard is coming up next week, so it's been busy at the State House. This week, lawmakers debated allowing Sunday alcohol sales and loosening restrictions on casinos. The governor and the Department of Education have been going back and forth all week on whether the state's standardized test needs to be shortened. Our team of reporters has been following these stories. Rachel Morello from our State Impact Education team and State House reporter Brandon Smith are here to break down this week's legislative news. Brandon, let's start with you. Legislators heard a bill this week called the Religious Freedom Restoration Act. It's to add an extra layer of protection against religious discrimination in Indiana. How does it do that?
Well, the bill creates a test courts can use to evaluate laws and regulations. It comes in 3 parts. First, the religious person has to prove that their practice of religion is being infringed. And then for the law to stand, the government has to prove 2 things. 1, that they have what's called a compelling interest for the law, and 2, that what they're doing is the least restrictive means of enforcing that interest.
So what kind of situations are we talking about where supporters are saying that this might be useful?
We heard a lot of talk about fears that the government will force businesses to provide services to people they don't want to serve. So, for example, florists and bakers being forced to serve same-sex couples, or a landlord being forced to rent to an abortion clinic. There was also talk from church communities. Here's an example given by Indiana Baptist pastor Tim Overton.
I, as a pastor, offer services. It's called officiating a wedding. And there are people that want to say that if I'm going to open my services to the population at large, that I shouldn't, quote unquote, discriminate. I think everybody in this room would think that is not right for the government to compel me to lend my speech to support someone else's speech.
So Brandon, but opponents say instead of protecting religious freedom, the bill could actually legalize discrimination.
Well, that's right, Joe. This law has been in place at the federal level and in several other states for about 2 decades now. And the ACLU says in that time, it's often been used to essentially defend acts of discrimination, such as a guidance counselor refusing to help a gay student. Here's how the head of Indiana's ACLU chapter put it.
These bills are a solution in search of a problem. This legislation is so broadly written, there may be unforeseen and harmful consequences.
So the ACLU is against it. Who else is opposing this measure?
The Indiana Chamber of Commerce spoke out against the bill. They're worried about the potential for lawsuits and also employers being forced to determine whether their employees' religious beliefs are legitimate.
All right, so moving on, Sunday alcohol sales came up again this week. A measure Representative Tom Dermody is introducing. It would legalize packaged alcohol sales on Sundays. Here's how he presented it to a House committee.
50,000 Hoosiers have signed a petition that they want Sunday sales. This is a small example that people are ready, and it's time.
And Brandon, this bill had a lot of support from grocery stores that could benefit from Sunday sales, but now they seem really worried about it. What changed?
Well, the House committee added an amendment that creates stringent new regulations for how non-liquor stores can sell alcohol. Notably, it said that all alcohol would have to be sectioned off to one part of the store, which means, for instance, grocery stores would have to put all their alcohol in one area and they couldn't have wine displays throughout the store. Proponents of that say this will help limit the exposure to children.
Well, on this issue has come up every session for the past several years. Given the changes, is it likely lawmakers are going to pass something this year?
Well, the committee passed it out 10-2, so it could go to the full House for a vote. But this issue has never had what you would call convincingly strong support in the legislature. And with the added wrinkle of the new regulations that's got folks like Kroger and Walmart fighting against it, that could be enough to halt it.
And lastly, Brandon, we just have a few seconds left. The same House committee passed a bill yesterday that would loosen the restrictions on casinos. What are they looking to do there?
They want to allow riverboats to move on land, and they want to allow the racinos to replace some of their electronic table games with tables with live dealers.
And what are the chances this will become law?
This one's a bit of a coin flip. There's supporters and opposition on both sides of the aisle.
Thanks, Brandon. And as we mentioned, it was also a busy week for education. Penn said this would be the education session, and that has certainly dominated. Rachel, it seemed like every other day, either the governor or Superintendent Ritz was having some kind of press conference over standardized tests that now we're going to double in length?
That's right, Joe. More than doubling, actually. We just got word today that the Superintendent and State Board of Education have agreed to cut it by 3 hours. Here's how we got there. Department of Education announced last week that they expected the ISTEP test for 3rd through 8th graders to take about 12 hours to complete, compared to 5 hours last year. That's because the state implemented new academic standards this year, and education leaders are trying to determine which exam questions best indicate how much students have learned. Public outcry prompted Governor Mike Pence to sign an executive order on Monday, hiring 2 outside assessment experts for advice on shortening the test.
Doubling the testing time for our kids is a hardship on them, it's a hardship on families, it's a hardship on our teachers. And this is a moment that calls for decisive action.
But a Department of Education spokesman responded by saying that wasn't another option. Then, just 2 days later, the governor announced he and the superintendent had come to an agreement to try to shorten the test before the testing window opens in 2 weeks. The State Board of Education met today to talk about this and decided to cut the number of pilot questions included in half, slicing over 3 hours off the test. They're also asking the General Assembly to let them eliminate the social studies portion for 5th and 7th graders, which would chop another hour off. This agreement among the State Board hasn't really been the norm, though, which brings up the other big education news this week. The Indiana House of Representatives passed a bill that would allow board members to elect their own chair. Right now, the superintendent automatically holds that position. Remember, Superintendent Ritz is a Democrat, and all other current board members have been appointed by Republican governors. So this legislation upset many who say the House Republican majority passed the bill as a political move. But House Speaker Brian Bosma says that's not the case.
Believe me, I hesitate very much so taking action that could be interpreted as supermajorities acting against the single statewide elected official from the other party.
And that bill now heads to the Senate. Joe?
Wow, a lot going on. Thanks, Rachel.
No problem.
And now for headlines, we go over to Alex Dirkman, who has the latest on this week's top stories.
Thank you, Joe. Time is running out to enroll in a health insurance plan through the federal marketplace. Open enrollment ends this Sunday, February 15th, and after that date, uninsured Americans could be subject to penalties. Those penalties are either 2% of an individual's income or $325 per uninsured adult and around $160 per uninsured child, whichever is more. If you enroll by the February 15th deadline, your coverage can begin as soon as March 1st. Anthem is offering services that could benefit the millions of customers and employees whose information was hacked last week. Victims will be able to sign up for 2 years of free ID theft protection and credit monitoring and identity theft insurance. Officials say up to 80 million current and former customer records were accessed. Customers can start signing up for the services on Friday. The head of a California-based company says he is still confident he can turn Terre Haute's sewage into diesel fuel as promised. Terre Haute has come under scrutiny for contracting with the company Powerdyne. The company's president spoke to the Terre Haute City Council Thursday night to address concerns from engineers that say the city only produces a fraction of the waste needed to create the amount of fuel stipulated in the business contracts. The president says the company could get more waste from other sources. In the midst of the scrutiny, he did mention to council members that he is happy to be doing business in their city where the people are kind and welcoming.
I've done developments across the nation, and when it's not political, it's either yay or nay, okay? This is political, straightforward political.
Mayor Duke Bennett says the original contracts with Powerdyne did have some unclear language and were being renegotiated. But Powerdyne officials say if a deal isn't made soon, they could pull out of the deal altogether. The owners of the Crump Theater in Columbus are having trouble finding interested buyers for their historic venue. But despite months of public discussions in the community, no one has expressed interest. So the Columbus Capital Foundation is reaching out beyond Bartholomew County. The Crump closed its doors for good last April because of major safety issues. Renovations to get the building up to code are expected to cost more than $10 million. The Bloomington City Plan Commission approved construction of a 146-room hotel on Kirkwood Avenue Monday night. A crowd of people gathered at the commission meeting, taking turns voicing their opinions on the Graduate Hotel. Business leaders largely supported the project, while residents opposed it for its lack of Bloomington charm.
This is not a bait and switch. We want to be good community members.
I think it's too big. I think it's the wrong materials.
Those people, according to our latest economic impact study, will spend about $90 per day in the community.
I love this quirky, delightful city. And to plunk that development down in that vital area, far from a dead zone, it changes things we can't anticipate.
The commission approved the hotel by a 5-3 vote. Duke Energy is asking a Vigo County court to let it use easements on 70 property owners' land to construct new power lines. As Gretchen Frazee reports, residents in the area are outraged over the 11 miles of new power lines from the Dresser substation to the Wabash River generating station in West Terre Haute.
That guy there.
Roger Sam remembers when power lines spanned his subdivision more than 25 years ago.
Yeah, there's a run right through here in the early 90s when we moved out here.
Duke Energy officials say they never gave up the rights to use the land, and wooden stakes with pink ribbons now mark the area where the company plans to bring the power lines back.
So everybody's pretty much in an uproar with it going back through because people don't have to move their pools or trees in their yard and everything.
4 coal-burning units at the Wabash River facility are scheduled to be shut down next year in an effort to comply with EPA regulations. The new lines will replace the power those units generate, so power will not be lost to residents in west central Indiana, which Duke is required to maintain under federal law. In a statement, a Duke Energy spokesman said the company carefully considered input from various stakeholders and believes this route is the best overall choice for the community, the environment, and the project. Construction of the power lines is expected to begin in the second half of 2015. Property owners will be notified of the court filing and have 23 days to respond.
Biologists at Indiana State University have relocated a peregrine falcon nest because the buildings where the nest was are set to be demolished. The box has been moved from the Statesman Towers to the Sycamore building in downtown Terre Haute. The nest is one of a dozen or so established in 2013 to help foster the birth of the once endangered birds population. And Joe, right now there are about 300 pairs of these falcons in the Midwest.
Thank you very much, Alex.
Yes.
Coming up next on Indiana Newsdesk. The emerald ash borer is wreaking havoc on Indiana trees. Why the Department of Natural Resources says it needs to cut down some trees in hopes of saving others. And are you sick of buying the same old flower bouquets for Valentine's Day? A movement to buy local, more unique flowers takes hold.
Local flowers that have grown with love have love in them.
These stories right here on Indiana Newsdesk.
PBS kicks off the weekends with Charlie Rose and America's top newsmakers on his new series, Charlie Rose, The Week.
Some people say, well, Obama was this raving liberal before, now he's, Dick Cheney.
Recap the week's biggest stories and Charlie's best interviews.
You feel there's this incredible synergy between the audience and the performer, and time slows down.
And get a look at the week ahead. Charlie Rose, The Week. Check local listings.
Frontline provides me with information that makes me think.
First I shout at the television.
You gotta be kidding!
You won't see this anywhere else.
The stories hit close to home.
Truth is a very valuable commodity.
They're uncompromising.
I want to do something. I want to take action.
It changed the way I actually live my life. It lets me make up my mind. I trust it.
When I watch Frontline,
it makes me angry and it makes me want to voice it.
I want to make a difference.
We can make a difference.
Frontline.
These guys are my heroes.
Welcome back to Indiana Newsdesk. As the emerald ash borer continues to spread throughout the state, the Department of Natural Resources is trying to make use of some of the infected trees. They held an ash salvage sale this week at the Jackson, Washington State Forest, allowing loggers to purchase timber from trees the bug has invaded. It's the first of several sales planned throughout the state. While the DNR says it's a way to generate revenue from trees that will eventually have to come down, activists worry about the implications for state forests. Barbara Harrington reports.
Comiskey logger Danny Richards is heading into the office at the Jackson, Washington State Forest, ready to bid on some timber.
I sell to several different sawmills.
But there's something different about this week's sale. Among the trees up for grabs is a species that's become increasingly vulnerable in the forest over the past year.
The leaves dropped off. We began to see a lot of woodpeckers in the campground, seeing a lot of woodpecker sign on the trees. Really good telltale sign that the ash has got something going on with it.
Here in the Jackson, Washington State Forest, you can see the havoc that the emerald ash borer has wreaked on many trees. The DNR says there's no way to save them, so they're salvaging them.
It's not discriminating. It's hitting all of our ash. We're going through and taking the ones that we know most likely will not make it till next year or won't even make it through the summer.
This section of the forest near Starve Hollow is being hit especially hard. Peeling away the bark reveals never-ending galleries and infested trees, massive destruction caused by tiny larvae. The Division of Forestry says trees like this one would have to be removed eventually because once they die, they pose safety hazards. So they're allowing loggers to come in and remove the trees before they get to that point.
Those ash trees will be dead from the time they're infested until they die is anywhere from 3 to 5 years.
The first ash salvage sale at the Jackson, Washington State Forest brought in about $36,000. That revenue helps pay for the state forest's operating expenses, and 15% of it will go into Jackson County's general fund. Another portion of the money goes to the volunteer fire department. But the Division of Forestry says the salvage sales aren't about the money.
These trees are going to die. There's no question about that. And so the only thing we're doing is making sure that we are good stewards of the taxpayers' resources.
According to a draft of the Division of Forestry's Forest Resource Management Guide, the purpose of ash salvage is to reduce the availability of the host food source for EAB, thereby potentially slowing the spread of the insect and also utilizing ash trees before they decay.
The ash seed will still be in the soil, So the ash will come back, and our hope is that once the borer comes through the first time and takes out all the big trees, then obviously without a food source, the population is going to crash. And so ash trees will make a comeback.
Everything to the east, north.
But as Hoosier Forest Watch coordinator Mike Lurstema looks at a portion of trail closed for timber removal, he's worried about the future of ash trees in state forests. The Coalition for Urban Ash Tree Conservation, which is made up of arborists, entomologists, and public works officials from across the country, released a statement in 2011 saying removal and destruction of ash trees in infected areas is not an effective way to prevent further infection.
What this represents is this pattern of using selective science or no science to support a forest management plan that maximizes commodity timber production on state forests, on public forests, over habitat preservation, over public recreation.
The Indiana Forest Alliance has been making that argument for decades, ever since logging in state forests started increasing. It's gone up more than 1,000% over the past 10 years. Instead of marking infected ash trees with orange paint to identify them for salvage, Lurstema wants the Division of Forestry to let nature take its course and see how the forest responds to the emerald ash borer.
We would like to see the Division of Forestry set aside large, contiguous, intact blocks of state forest land for two reasons. One, for low-impact public recreation such as hiking and hunting and backcountry camping, but also for forest habitat, for interior forest species, and to monitor how forests respond to disturbances as a scientific control.
But loggers like Richard say they've seen firsthand how the woods respond to the emerald ash borer, and it's devastating. This map shows just how prevalent the pest is throughout the state. Richard says by holding the ash salvage sales, the DNR is making the best out of a very bad situation.
You can let it rot and fall down, or you can get the value of it, and you know you're utilizing the resources better by harvesting it.
The Division of Forestry says ash salvage sales will be held as needed throughout the state. That means there's no cap on how much timber they can sell. If you're among those that made New Year's resolutions to get healthy or lose weight, you'll appreciate this next story. You know that feel-good feeling after you exercise? Maybe you've heard it linked to a hormone called endorphins. New research suggests it is actually more complicated than that. Casey Kuhn reports.
Mohammed Zaire just started working out again.
Today was my first session. I have not been working out for quite some time.
Even after one day, he says he already feels like he has more energy.
My blood is pumping up, I feel that I'm warmer, and I feel that I'm ready to go.
These feelings are similar to what some call a runner's high, when your brain lets out feel-good chemicals called endorphins during physical activity.
Exercise does release endorphins and you are fired up and ready to go, and you do leave here feeling better.
Endorphins work like this. When a body is stressed, the pain is transmitted to the brain and goes from brain cell to brain cell. As a reaction, the brain produces endorphins that end up blocking that pain transmission. But Indiana University kinesiology professor John Ragland says the release of those feel-good chemicals only comes after lengthy exercise, such as running a marathon.
It's a very attractive explanation, getting this sort of endorphin high. And sometimes they use this explanation to talk about people who become addicted to exercise. The fact is there's really very little research to support it.
Ragland says the mood boost people feel after working out moderately for 20 to 45 minutes or so comes from the release of a cascade of hormones, most likely dopamine and serotonin.
We found here in our own studies that low doses of exercise, which are insufficient to produce endorphin, make you feel just as good as high doses.
Back at the gym, Perry says she can see people's moods lift as soon as they walk through the door.
I think from the very first time somebody steps foot in the weight room and that they do only 10 minutes on a treadmill, their mental health has increased. They're better off.
And while Mohammed Zahir is still figuring out his routine, he says there's already been a change in the way he feels.
It gives me a lot of energy, after a workout I feel that I still have a lot of energy. It gets me pumped up, so I'm planning on sticking with it all the way to the end.
The National Retail Federation estimates this year 38% of people celebrating Valentine's Day will buy flowers for their significant other, and the majority of those flowers will be imported from other countries such as Colombia and Ecuador. But maybe you've heard of something called the slow flower movement. It's similar to the slow food movement. The difference is this one emphasizes the importance of local blooms, and it's gaining traction here in the U.S. Linda Chapman has owned the Harvest Moon Flower Farm in Spencer for 28 years. She says interest in locally grown flowers is increasing because buyers are tired of manicured one-size-fits-all supermarket bouquets.
They lack soul, they lack feeling, and they're stiff and they're ramrod and they're pretty, but they also don't have this kind of healthy, alive essence.
And as with the slow food movement, the slow flowers movement supports the local economy and is better for the environment. So if you like numbers, the National Retail Federation says the average person about $142 they're spending on Valentine's Day this year. Total spending $18.9 billion.
Are you kidding me?
Survey high. Yeah.
That's so high, but something cute that I found is that $703 million will be spent on pets.
Oh, that's interesting. That's the end of this program, but our work continues online as we cover the news throughout the week at WTIUnews.org. Have a great weekend.
Indiana Newsdesk is made possible in part by the following. Indiana University's Center for Applied Cybersecurity Research, presenting Security Matters with tips for improving online security in 3 minutes or less. Main Source Bank, headquartered in Greensburg, Indiana, offering products and services to fit every stage of life. More information at mainsourcebank.com. Main Source, life needs a great bank. Member FDIC and equal housing lender.
Smithville Communications, serving Southern Indiana with high-speed fiber gigabit internet. Smithville Fiber Gigabit Technology. Tap the power.
And by WTIU members. Thank you.